My Lords, it's a great pleasure to follow the Noble Lady Baroness Chakrabarti, who made a very powerful point about the issue of externalised costs. Currently, we have the few, in many sectors, the few giant multinational companies who are making a financial killing while the rest of us, human and non-human world, pay. Now, I thank the Noble Lady Baroness Northover for securing this debate and introducing it so clearly. Like many, I'm tempted to talk about the inadequate, non-manifesto compliant level of UK official development assistance. The fact that we would all be more secure in a more stable world if we were spending more on ODA. The Green Party says double the government's current level, and that should be applied to real development assistance, not housing refugees in the UK, much as, of course, we should be doing that as well. I was tempted, like the Noble Lord Whitty, to focus on the extreme urgency of climate mitigation after the year that we've just had, the warmest in probably 100,000 years. That's roughly half the time our species has been on this planet. This is the warmest year, and certainly by a substantial margin the hottest since records began. I was also tempted, as Debt Justice has been doing, to focus on the way the global debt crisis, particularly in the 54 hardest-hit Global South nations, is preventing climate action. Global South countries are currently spending 12.5 times more on debt repayment than they are on climate adaptation. But in the short time available to me, I'm going to instead focus, the Minister might be surprised to hear, on some money that the government could stop spending on official development assistance. Money that might be redirected instead, perhaps, towards supporting women and girls' grassroots organisations as a foundation of a feminist foreign policy, for example. And this is an area of particular interest to the Noble Lord the Minister, being agriculture. Now, I'm relying in part on a briefing from Compassion in World Farming and on some excellent research for which I credit the House of Lords Library, which conducted it for me at speed. Now, Compassion in World Farming, as the name suggests, is focused on the well-being and welfare of non-human animals. It points to an independent review for the FCDO that suggests the department should, quote, work through its programs with the governments in programs' countries of operation to establish agreed levels of animal welfare. Will the government be doing that? A direct question to the Noble Lord the Minister. But we're focused today on the climate emergency. And with that in mind, I want to particularly look at the activities of the International Finance Corporation, which is a member of the World Bank Group, on which Andrew Mitchell MP, in his role as Minister of State for Development, is a member of the IFC Board of Governors, the IPC Board of Governors. The IPC has, in recent years, funded private sector projects, including a multi-storey pig farm in China, industrial pig production in Vietnam, industrial broiler chicken production in Uganda, and industrial pig and chicken production in Ecuador. Will the UK use its influence to stop that damaging funding factory farming, which, as I often reflect in your Lordship's House, is a huge threat in terms of antimicrobial resistance, that is wasting food that could be fed to people, instead feeding it to animals, which convert cereals and plant proteins very inefficiently into meat and milk. And globally, 40% of crop calories are used to feed animals when they could be feeding people. And of course, these factory farming installations are also contributing to massive deforestation and other environmental damage, creating manure as a major pollutant, instead of, if we had small-scale agroecological regenerative approaches, it could be a fertiliser on arable crops. Many studies have shown it will not be possible to meet the Paris targets without a reduction in global livestock production. So will the government do something, take action, seek to persuade the IFC to stop this damaging funding? And furthermore, will the government commit to ensuring that no direct UK aid goes to factory farming? Now, I turn now to agriculture more broadly, and I'm sure the Noble Lord is aware of the Independent Commission for Aid Impact paper, UK Aid to Agriculture in the Time of Climate Change, from June 2023. And the government then, in responding to that, committed to ensure that all new UK bilateral aid spending does no harm to nature by ensuring that it's all nature positive. Now, that was a commitment in the IDA International Development Strategy of May 2022. Can the Minister tell me if that's true of everything that was funded in 2023? And finally, I think we have to tie all of this together: the welfare of our natural world, the welfare of our climate, the welfare of people. Food security is one of the crushingly important issues of the coming age. And the government itself, at least sometimes, acknowledges that small-scale agroecological production is crucial to both improving nutritional standards and to ensuring that we live within the Paris Agreement. Is the government ensuring that it stops funding both industrial agriculture of all forms and is funding the agroecological small-scale production the world needs?